Five-headed dragon. When the elemental dragons of water, earth, fire, wind, and darkness come together, a new unstoppable force shall be born. Unleashed upon the world will be a wicked dragon, whose 5 heads grants it power that cannot be matched, and will know not defeat. That is, unless a warrior of light should arise. By doing so, its days are nigh. Five-headed dragon, known in the Japanese as FGD, Five God Dragon, was first released in Japan as a promotional card in the 2002 Game Boy game Yugioh The Sacred Cards. Internationally, this card wouldn't see release until 2006, making its debut in, surprisingly, Structure Deck Dinosaur's Rage, specifically being a bonus promotional card for the special set version of that structure deck. Fast forward 13 years, and this monster would receive an alternative artwork version of itself in Battles of Legend, Heroes Revenge. And then fast forward one more year and you get yourselves in Duel Overload a retrained version of the monster, a Link form, called Five-Headed Link Dragon, or in the Japanese, Link God Dragon. As a fusion monster, the materials required to summon this monster were quite unique for the time, not requiring specific named monsters, but instead any 5 dragon types. Following this, when on the field, it would have the effect that it couldn't be destroyed by battle, by dark, earth, water, fire, or wind monsters. This effect alludes to the 5 heads of the monster, each representing one of the aforementioned elements, meaning it is in turn immune from harm since it wields those elements. With that being the case, it also means that if you wanted to defeat this monster in battle, you would have to use a light monster, as it is the only element this monster does not wield. And obviously a little bit later, Divine attribute would come out later, but that's like an advanced version of light, right? So yeah. But the question then becomes, what light monster is strong enough to beat such a powerhouse? Well, that's where we turn to the anime. You see, this monster made its anime debut during the often forgotten Legendary Heroes arc of the anime. During this arc, the characters become trapped in a virtual game called Duel Monster Quest. They're trapped there because they are trying to save Kaiba from the clutches of the Big Five. Duel Monster Quest was essentially a game that merged Dungeons & Dragons together with Duel Monsters and turning it into an open-world role-playing game. In order to save Kaiba, they had to complete the game's main quest by vanquishing something called the Mythic Dragon. Well, it turns out that the Mythic Dragon was in fact Five-Headed Dragon itself. When the gang finally find the dragon, it is revealed the Big Five had rewritten the game's code to put Mythic Dragon under their control. Ultimately, the gang was able to defeat the creature by combining the might of all the dragons in their individual decks with a merger of Yugi and Kaiba's monsters. This vanquisher of the Five-Headed Dragon was a light monster known as Dragon Master Knight, and it gained 500 attack for every dragon that was used at some point on the field. Now, with all this in mind, it is clear that Five-Headed Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is based on an actual dragon in Dungeons & Dragons. It is based on a monster known as Tiamat, the Queen of Evil Dragons. In D&D, Tiamat is described as a dragon with 5 heads, each head being a different color, which represents one of the many chromatic dragons. And guess what? Tiamat has an eternal rival, known as Bahamut. Bahamut is the brother of Tiamat, and is the dragon god of justice. Now I'm going to describe Bahamut to you, and you tell me what it reminds you of. Bahamut is a massive dragon with a tail the same length as its body. It has platinum white scales and blue eyes. Yes, the blue eyes white dragon was most likely inspired by Bahamut. And in turn, it makes it all the more fitting that this light monster would become the catalyst for the eventual defeat of Five-Headed Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh! Five-Headed Dragon would make a few reappearances throughout the anime, the most prominent moments being when, yet again, during an arc where the characters are trapped inside a virtual world, yet again fighting against the Big Five, they yet again use Five-Headed Dragon to attempt to defeat Yugi. But, of course, Yugi yet again defeats them, this time by combining his and Joey's monsters together. He makes Dark Flare Knight, which in turn then gets out the light monster Knight of Illusions, Mirage Knight. Hey, that's 2 different knights that defeated 5-headed dragon. That's kind of cool. Now I know what you're thinking. 5-headed dragon, one of the most powerful dragon-type monsters in the game for the longest time, doesn't seem to be getting many wins. Well, we do actually see 5-headed dragon getting a W for once in the series, when it was wielded by a computer on the max setting. Finally, 5-headed dragon appeared in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series, wielded by an entity known as Truman, who actually used the monster quite well. Truman implemented a real-life strategy you would see with this monster, where they used future fusion to dump all of the materials for the summon of this monster into the grave. Then they would play Dragon's Mirror to banish all of those materials from the grave to summon out another copy of 5-headed dragon. 2 turns later, Truman would get out a second 5-headed dragon thanks to future fusion. Honestly, it was really awesome, and Truman even uses a floodgate during this duel. He uses skill drain. I don't know, it just made me laugh. But ultimately, it is defeated by Jaden after he summons the light attributed elemental hero Neos and boosts it with Honest. Now, looking at this monster's artwork, we can see that each of the 5 heads represent one of the attributes that they make up. The fire head, it's the fire one. The blue head is water. The dark head is dark. The mechanical head is wind. And the pale head is the earth head. Sadly, for such an iconic card, this monster has never received any support, having only one card that it features in the artwork of, which is Paradox Fusion. However, it does have a retrained Link version, called 5-headed Link Dragon. Yet again, to summon this monster, you need 5 monsters to summon it. However, this time it gets a bonus effect if it is summoned by using a Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind attribute monster. If summoned this way, it destroys every single card on the opponent's field. This board wiping effect is actually a carryover from its anime ritual counterpart, so that's pretty cool. However, don't fret, if you summon this monster without using all the different attributes, it still has these effects. It cannot be destroyed by battle with a Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, or Wind monster. It is unaffected by other card effects. However, to keep the card on the field, once during each of the opponent's end phases, 5 cards must be banished from the owner's graveyard face down, or else this card sends itself to the graveyard. For such a high cost of summon and such a demanding cost to keep it on the field, I have to pose the question, do you think this card is worth it? Let me know in the comments. And with that, that was 5-headed dragon done. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like to see more versions of this. Would you like to see a 6-headed dragon that also encompasses the light attribute as well, so that it covers all bases? Let me know in the comment section below. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Catch you later. Bye, everyone.